Hey guys, if you're like me out there looking for a good 220 mobile, came across the Bridgecom BCM-220, Bridgecom Mobile 220. That's kind of how their scheme goes with that. I want to run through just a couple of the features of it. I'm going to go through the menu settings and a couple of the knobs, I guess, and what the buttons do. And this isn't going to be real in-depth, but bear with me. Hopefully this answers some questions that I also had with this radio going into it. First one, when we're in the VFO mode, we've got it so you can tell you're just going up or down in the frequency. Okay, so that's in VFO mode. If you want to go in it and you just want to scan through your VFO itself, you set your frequency and then you just hit scan. And of course you can tell it to go back down, just like a scanner. So we're back to the calling frequency 223.5. First menu out of the two menu banks that are here. A, these are the menu settings that are in there. Squelch, if you want to turn that up, you hit the knob and you can dial it up to whatever squelch level that you want. Once you get it where you think it should be, hit it again. That selects it. Hit A. Gets you out of that menu. Okay? So that's back into here. So we were at squelch. Let's just keep going with the further menus that you can see. RF power. It is a 30-watt radio. It is 4 selections between it, 4 levels. As you see, 5, 10, 20, and 30 watts. That's high power. Back out of it. Next. This would be equivalent, what I've found to be like the microphone gain. 7 is wide open, it's as high as it goes. I believe 1 is the minimal. You've got the sub deviation. I found 5 for me to work the best. I believe, do not quote me on this, I'm not an expert at it, but I believe that is the level that it sends, for example, transmitted tones, as well as the DCS levels. Again, do not quote me on that. But 5 works the best for me. DTMF tone deviation, I've also left that at 5. Channel spacing, I've left it at wide. Amateur radio, 220, sounds best to me at wide. It can go narrow. Squelch, back to squelch, I should say. That's back to the beginning menu. See, we went through all those. Okay, we're done looking through and setting those menus. And again, we're in VFO. So I hit A and we got back out of it. Let's go into B. More menus. Frequency step. Squelch. This is kind of neat. The receive and transmit squelch are separate, but they're really easy to access. For example, we'll just do one, for example, the receive. Want to select it? Now, the first section, as you turn the VFO knob up, is tones. If you wanted to require a tone to open up the receiver. But once you get past the tones, it goes right into DCS codes. Those are DCS. There's no separation between them, and there's really no way to decipher between it, except, again, if you're familiar with them. So go back down to requiring none to open up this receiver. And again, this is just for demonstration. I'm gonna go down until it beeps. There, okay? Hit the VFO knob in, gets us to the ability to go to the next one. Transmit squelch is going to be exactly the same, except what it will do for a transmit. Do you want it to send out a tone, or maybe a DCS, or nothing? I'm just going to leave it with what it was set here. Frequency offset. 220 repeaters, standard offset, negative 1.6, at least in this area, megahertz. You can change that. You can put it to simplex if you want. Really easy to do, just by hitting the knob and turning it back, hitting the knob again. Scan, unmute, so different ways that you can have it stop scanning. Then we've got different speeds for the scan. You can turn that up or down for different speeds. Hang time with the scan again. How long do you want it to stay there between when it stops? And then again, also with how long it waits. The timeout time, I've turned mine up a little bit. So normally is 3 minutes is what, 180 seconds? But interesting fact about this radio. For me, when I time out the transmitter, if I can get long-winded, and I time it out at 180 when the repeater's set to 180. But if this times out, it seems for me to require an actual power cycle for it to start transmitting again. Don't know if there's any way around that, but that's one of the observations I made. So my fix on it, turned up the transmit timer, and I haven't timed it out since. So just from 180, another, what, 20 seconds. But you can adjust that too. Beep for all tones. And here it went beep there, went back to the very beginning of B. This is just a monitor, whether it's in VFO, where you have the transmit or the receive required tone or DCS, you can still bypass it. It also works in memory mode. I only have 3 frequencies in here. I believe it's 3. 223.5 simplex, which I have it set up as carrier squelch. See a lot of these symbols. I haven't really gone into them. I know wide, and I'm not familiar with all of them yet, so bear with me. Painesville is a 220 repeater close to our area, but I've actually saved Painesville, the one with the required tone squelch, because I don't like to hear the kerchunk, and then the one with basically no tone squelch required. The difference between it is if you have the tone squelch on, it's quiet when you kerchunk it or when you unkey. So you see a little light there, but really you hear no kerchunk, but this is what the repeater would sound like if I turn it to that. Here it's got a little short tail. Excellent receiver and tone squelch on here. So if you want to scan between these, you hit scan. It's just between your memories. If you want to go in and to your VFO, you can also scan the VFO. See how I do that? VFO mode, memory mode. Excellent, like I said, excellent little radio. Hopefully this helps for some of your questions, perhaps with the menu settings.